Hello and welcome to Me and You and Nancy Drew, the podcast where I, Colleen,
and I, Megan,
are reading through and exploring the Nancy Drew-niverse. Today we read Nancy Drew Notebook number 2, The Lost Locket from 1994. The Nancy Drew Notebooks are one of the series where she's 8 years old. She's in elementary school. This is supposed to be a prequel series. It's super adorable. How'd you like this book, Megan?
So cute. I loved it.
So cute.
It's short, sweet, and adorable.
Exactly. If we weren't taking notes, I probably could have read this in 20 minutes. This is so cute, though.
That's lit. Since I read it digitally, Kindle told me it would take me 22 minutes to read at my reading speed. I was like, fantastic.
Awesome.
Of
Love
course,
this for
taking
us.
notes, it did not take 22 minutes. It took like 40 minutes, but...
Sure, but it's very cute. All right. Want to do a haiku about it?
Yes.
Drew haiku. Do you want to remind us what a haiku is?
Yes. So this week we did a haiku summary. A haiku is a Japanese style poem where each line has a certain number of syllables, specifically 5 syllables for the first line, 7 syllables for the second line, and 5 syllables for the third line, and that is the end. Traditionally, haikus are about nature and things of that sort, but for the elementary school English teacher version, it can be about whatever you want it to be about.
Such as this book.
Such as Nancy Drew Notebook 2, The Lost Locket.
Yes, indeed. Do you want me to go first?
I would love for you to go first.
As usual, mine has a lot of punctuation.
I love it.
Bess's locket gone! Exclamation point. Cousins fight till pumpkin farm. Period. Backpacks just got switched! Exclamation point.
I love it. It's got all of it, all the important things. Okay.
I felt so proud of myself for predicting the end, and then I remembered that it's a book written in 1994 for third graders, and then I did not feel as proud.
Feel a little less proud. Yeah, that's
a little
okay.
less proud. Tell me your haiku.
All right. The locket was swapped with a disgusting sandwich. It's in her backpack.
The disgusting sandwich did take a lot of their time, huh?
It took a lot of... That was their number one clue. That was their first line of investigation. Actually, that was their only line of investigation.
It was. And in fact, if I was in third grade, I would probably really focus on the, what was it?
Peanut butter,
ketchup, mustard, and
relish.
Yeah. And that is disgusting, actually. And in fact, the person who had that sandwich, the kid did not want to eat it. It was... Spoiler alert.
It was a separate prank.
It was a separate prank from the uncle of the sandwich owner. 30-second recap.
I mean, our haiku pretty much summarized the whole thing. It's quite a short book.
Yes, indeed. But let's do it.
Okay, I think I go first for the 30-second recap this week.
Hopefully,
right. I'll be able to get all the things that happened.
It's about 30 pages.
30
Not really,
page
but close.
1 page per second.
3, 2, 1, go.
Bess lost her locket because George put it in her backpack instead of holding onto it, and they are so mad at each other that Bess ripped up George's picture from the newspaper, and now they don't want to talk to each other. And inside George's backpack, instead of the locket, there is a gross aforementioned sandwich. They go through all of the people that were at the park who might have had the sandwich. There are a few red herrings. In the end, it turns out that 2 backpacks got swapped because they were the same backpack that had the same notebook, and it was Ned Nickerson.
Yay, time. Yeah. And Ned Nickerson is fair. He's a boy from the grade above, that makes sense because he's usually in college and Nancy's like between high school and college. And so it's like, yeah, he's a grade older than me. I don't really talk to him much. He's probably a gross boy. And then she's like, oh, wait, maybe he's nice. And then she's like, never mind, he's a gross boy.
He's a gross boy.
And that's correct for their grade, and I love it. All right, my turn.
All right.
I'm on the world clock section. That's not helpful at all.
All righty. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
So Bess's locket gets, stolen, but actually it was just an accident. And Bess and George are so mad at each other, as previously mentioned. And so Nancy has to kind of investigate with just Bess or just George and has trouble picking between them, which she shouldn't have to. And with Bess, all she gets is clues about what everyone was wearing, which is hilarious. And with George, all she gets is climbing trees and then talking about food, which is also hilarious, although part of that's Nancy's fault. And then they go on a pumpkin farm field trip. And Nancy is like, you know what? Actually, you shouldn't be fighting about this. And they're like, you know what? You were right, Nancy. And then they find it. Yay.
Yay. That's pretty much everything that happens.
Yep. It's a simple book. It's cute.
It's a pretty straightforward little mystery. The locket is missing, but as also so common with this age where they're like, it got stolen. And you're like, could it be that you just haven't found it yet?
And they're
Could
like,
there
no.
be a more logical explanation than someone
No, I
stole it?
get it. It's stolen forever, and George did it with malice in her heart.
Yep.
Now, there wasn't malice aforethought, but there was malice afterthought, because then Bess got all snippy and ripped up the newspaper clipping because George was famous and her, like, soccer kick was in the newspaper. Oh, so sad. I mean,
I
so exciting
know.
for her to be in there, but, like, so sad that
Poor
Bess
cousins.
I know.
It was a very tough emotional time for Bess and George.
It was.
And honestly for Nancy, too, to be put in between them. And we'll talk about the more. I
Yes.
think I've got a lot of notes in Drew's clues to talk about.
Excellent. Cliffhanger.
So I feel like there's not as dramatic of cliffhangers in the Nancy Drew notebooks.
Yeah, no one's getting kidnapped, which is good.
That is very good.
Mm-hmm.
No one's getting wounded, other
That's
than
also
their
good.
hearts.
Yeah, that's
feelings.
so sad.
But I liked the juxtaposition of the cliffhanger at the end of chapter 3 and then the cliffhanger at the end of chapter 4, which the end of chapter 3 is where they're starting to investigate, who was near the tree that George's backpack was under.
And in fact, all kids tend to, at the park, put their backpacks under, which was our first clue to be
everyone's
like,
backpacks
okay.
were all under the same tree. And so they were saying, like, at the time that the locket went missing, who was near the tree? And there was one girl who they are suspicious of, whose name is
Karen Coons.
She was near there. As previously mentioned, there was this gross sandwich that was in the backpack instead of the locket. So someone maliciously swapped the locket with a gross sandwich. How rude. And so they're trying to figure out, well, who would eat a gross sandwich like this? Who would have it available to swap it with the locket? So they think it could be Karen. So they have a list, and they're pretending that they are doing a survey for a extra credit science project to see what everyone eats for lunch. And so they just cold call the different the different kids' houses to talk to their parents to be like, what does your kid eat for lunch? So they call Miss
Which is crazy
Coons.
that this couldn't wait till the next day when, in theory, they have lunch together.
For real. So she calls Miss Coombs and she's like, hey, I'm doing a report. What does Karen eat for lunch? And her mom's like, oh, that's easy. My kids will eat anything as long as it has peanut butter on it. So I just give them peanut butter and whatever's in the house. And
such as perhaps relish, ketchup, and mustard.
Yep. All right. Anything with peanut butter? Well, that's it. So they're like, it was her. Then, the end of chapter 4, after they also continue to go investigate, they climb a tree and go spy on Karen's house.
George climbs a tree.
George
she's
climbs
brave.
a tree to see if she can maybe spy the locket just through the window. Very third grade logic. So then they're like kind of snooping around her house, and her brother comes out the door with some cookies, and they're like, hey, what kind of cookies you got there? He's like, peanut butter. They're like, yeah, of course it's peanut butter. We know this. And then they're like, oh, so while I got you here, little 5-year-old, like, I heard your sister likes to eat sandwiches with ketchup and mustard and relish. And he's like, ew, no, my sister hates relish. So do I. It's her most unfavoritist food in the whole world.
Yeah.
And I just loved that just within one chapter, the two cliffhangers are like, she'll eat peanut butter with anything. And then, she hates relish. She would never eat that with peanut butter. That's it. Those are my two cliffhangers.
I love unfavoritist also.
I do. I also love unfavoritist.
I think mine might have been more of a cliffhanger than the rest of this book had available, which was, I believe, the end of chapter 1. The locket has just gone missing. Bess is distraught. Nancy just showed up. She's trying to tell her. And she's like, George can give you more information about it. Go ask George. And she looks over, and George is talking to somebody else with a piece of paper. And Nancy is like, oh, she knew what, the narration's like, Nancy knew what that was. That's like the newspaper clipping that she was in that apparently she's been showing to everybody, which is adorable. And Bess marches over and goes, I hope your team loses every game for the rest of the year. And then she tore the newspaper into a dozen tiny pieces and threw them on the ground. And it really sets up just the friendship dynamics and lack thereof for the rest of it. And Nancy has self-imposed a time crunch too, which is like, well, we're supposed to go to the movies like either tomorrow or the alternate is by Sunday. She's like, I can't fix this by tomorrow, and I definitely can't fix it by Sunday. Oh my God, we won't get to go to the movies.
I know, poor Nancy. And that I really do think they've got a really accurate read on what's important to third graders.
Yes.
Good job, Carolyn Keene.
Yeah.
Cooking corner.
There was more than usual.
There was. And especially since I feel like in the classic books recently, we've had quite a famine in Cooking Corner. So to see so many wonderful things has been a delightful change.
Yes. So speaking of this nasty sandwich, Nancy is like, well, I wouldn't be a good detective if I didn't investigate just how nasty this sandwich is. So she makes one to investigate and like makes it in the kitchen, makes a big mess, I assume, and then thinks it's so gross that she almost spits it on the floor, but knows that would not be good.
Nope.
And so she goes over to the kitchen sink and spits it out, and Hannah walks in and is like, what are you doing? She goes, detectiving, essentially.
So cute.
It's an important detail.
Before she tries her monstrosity sandwich, she does make herself some actual good food sandwich, which is, then this is before she makes it. She makes her peanut butter and strawberry jam. There's a lot of peanut butter in this novel, which, as somebody who is a peanut butter hater, did make it gross. But that's okay.
Yes, that's fair.
I understand that lots of people think peanut butter is delicious.
Especially children, although more on this later, but this would not be a big thing in at least most current schools, right?
Correct.
Thermos mentioned, just like in the classics.
Yes.
Hot soup. Oz has a field trip lunch, which is kind of crazy, but okay. Someone's field trip lunch is a ham sandwich and a huge bag of nacho chips, which I'm just picturing as Doritos.
Yep.
Nacho flavor, just like a family-sized bag of Doritos as this kid's lunch, which I have definitely seen before. But usually it's Takis now, but.
Yes, and then we have actually multiple times where people, and this also feels, very 90s, where everyone's getting their backpacks and lunchboxes from, the only place available, like Walmart or something. Yeah. But lunchboxes get swapped, and Nancy opens her lunchbox, and she took out the food. Hard-boiled eggs? I hate hard-boiled eggs. And Molly Angelo got her lunchbox swapped with Nancy's, and she has tuna fish, which she's allergic to, which will apparently make her throw up. I kind of assumed, or I'm sure lots of different types of allergies, but I was like, I could have sort like a fish allergy feels like it would make you break out in hives or anaphylactic shock, but like, I don't know. What do I know? And so what Nancy's lunch was supposed to be was 2 tuna fish sandwiches, an apple, a box of juice, and a big piece of pumpkin pie.
Because they're at the pumpkin field trip.
Because Hannah's the sweetest person in the whole world.
And Hannah was like, don't look at your lunch. It does have a surprise in it. And so Nancy's excited. Then she opens it. She's like, I hate hard-boiled eggs. Why would Hannah surprise me with the food I hate?
This is such a bad surprise.
Girl, do you not understand who Hannah is? What is more likely, that Hannah did a prank on you or that your lunchbox got switched? Which, of course, is how they figured out, wait a second. I think that gives them the idea that maybe something else got switched, like the backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, and also the girl who's like allergic to tuna fish is like, why would my mom pack me this? I'm allergic to it. So again, what is more likely, that your mom packed you the food that you can't eat, or something's wrong? Do you guys not have your names in your lunchbox? I know that they don't, but like I always had, like, I think my name and then my home phone number inside in case it was missing.
Mine always had my name on the inside, if not the outside as well.
They're asking various kids what they eat for lunch, and Ned reports cheese sandwiches, and then she's like, what else? He goes, like some cookies and like fruit, usually some chips and some juice. He's like giving his whole like 5-course lunch plan.
Yes.
She's like, like what kind of sandwiches? He's like, oh, turkey and tuna fish. And then he gets bored and like bikes away.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, sandwiches, man. I can list them.
Kind of guy.
Never mind.
I also like that when he rides up, he's on like this 10-speed bike, and George's like, can I sit on it? And he goes, I guess. And she sits on it and then gives it back. I'm like, what was that? Okay. Not to try it out and ride it around. You just wanted to sit. Okay.
Just want to sit on it.
Children are weird. I thought that there's maybe a hard-boiled detective pun with Nancy getting hard-boiled eggs, but I don't think that that's actually accurate.
No.
My
last cooking corner is cookies, which are also peanut butter cookies, as mentioned in my cliffhanger.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I like that they're interrogating younger children, such as kids that are like maybe 3 years younger than them. But like, oh, this is going to be he's going to be easy to interrogate. He's like this little kid. I'm like, you are also a little kid. This is like when I was student teaching kindergarten and I put on Frozen and they're like, that's for babies. I'm like, you are 5.
Fashion police.
So much 90s fashion, and
Oh my
I
God.
love it. And I mean, I guess I'll probably talk about this more in Blast from the Past. This book, I don't even know how to even call it a book. This story brought me
Yeah.
so much joy. And
Yeah.
it's, it was written in 1994, which I was 2 years old. But
Right, but like you were going to school a couple years after that, or like
yes,
3 years after that.
I was in early elementary school in the 90s and very early 2000s, which were basically still the 90s.
Correct.
And
especially fashion-wise.
between having read these books in that time period and having been in school in that time period, it is just so nostalgic for like a simpler time, and everyone's super colorful clothes and bright.
Which I definitely still do. Oops.
Oh yeah. Oh right. No. And I think that actually that's one of the things I love about right now. If it's one of the few things I love about right now is
Sure.
that
If people are
anyone can just
embracing.
wear whatever you want if it makes you happy, if it's comfy, if it's colorful, like whatever it is that brings you joy, do that. It's like I said, one of the few things that the year of 2026 has going for it.
Seriously.
But I do just remember how many just like leggings and tights and
They're layering,
patterns,
especially.
the
Oh my God.
layering, the headbands.
There were so many headbands.
There's so many headbands, and I just loved it. So I just wanted to note that before we talk about the specifics.
Yes. But I also especially love that most of these, like, Nancy's trying to figure out, hey, who is near the tree? Who is on my suspect list? Who can I cross off my suspect list? And Bess is like, this person was there. I remember because they were wearing this. This person was there. I remember because they were wearing this. And it especially reminded me of when I was an RA. The first semester that I did it, I was really good at knowing people's names when they move in. And then the next day I forgot everyone, and I realized I had been remembering it by what they were wearing. And then they changed clothes. And that was what I figured out, that is not a good way to remember names.
I think the very first note I have is Bess wearing her navy blue headband.
Yeah.
And in the picture, it's one of those really thick headbands. It's
Chunky.
so cute. I love it.
It's very cute. My first note is Nancy's bright blue backpack, which feels like a substitute for her bright blue
Yes.
roadster.
That's exactly why I highlighted the same thing. I was like, oh my gosh. Obviously her favorite color, because it's also the color of her notebook.
Yes, exactly. Which it like mentions early on. She's like, I can't wait to bring out this notebook. I know exactly what to do. This is where I write all my clues in. You've had one book already. She's like, nope, I know what to do. I have already been training as a detective for one whole book.
We might have missed some mysteries in between. We don't know.
That's true.
She might be solving some other mysteries. This might not be just the second one. This might be her like 12th one, and only the second one worth.
That's true.
Mentioning.
They don't mention, like in the classic books, she just solved the mystery of the hidden staircase or whatever.
Yeah, there have been no mysteries in between this. You were there for the last one, and you're here for the new one. Nancy's favorite outfit is blue jeans, a pink sweater, and pink sneakers.
Yes, I wrote down that it's one of her favorite Saturday morning outfits, which is so specific. And then I was like, I was going to give her some flack for it. And then I was like, you know what? Pretty much every day, because it's spring break for me, I've been off. And I pretty much have just been going and getting one of 2 outfits out of the dryer, whichever one's clean. And been like, all right, cool. It's time for jeans with a rip in the knee or jeans that don't have a rip in the knee. Those are the options. And this shirt or that shirt.
Yep. That's pretty much also how I dress. These are my 4 comfy outfits, and I wear them in some combination if I am not working.
Correct. I'm not around anybody who cares.
And 3rd graders, their work is school.
Bryn Coombs has a blue flowered skirt and corduroy jacket, which is cute.
I love a corduroy jacket. I had one in the late 90s, early 2000s. I loved it so much. And just like all those patterns.
I think the other one I liked was Jenny March.
Yes, I wrote down her outfit as well. Actually,
yes, please tell me
what
about
I wrote was Jenny outfit.
Jenny outfit, green tights, blue and green jumper, and then Bess is like, but she was wearing a gray sweater for my backpack because it didn't go with the rest of the outfit. I'm like,
That's
okay, calm
what
down.
Made her suspicious to be over there getting a gray sweater because that does not go with her outfit.
Exactly.
I love when Nancy goes to Bess's house and Bess is in a full nightgown with bunny slippers.
It does not. Oh, no. It does not
Oh.
say that. It says big fuzzy animal slippers.
Oh, yes.
And then later, I wrote this down in a miscellaneous mystery. The mystery is, why aren't we allowed to know what animal Bess's slippers are? Because I would think bunny slippers, but they do have long doggy ears.
Oh.
They are only described as animal slippers. It does not say what animal. I am vexed and confused.
Then
Why
I
is that
just
a
made
secret?
up bunny slippers. I was like,
Yep, 'cause
there's
it
some
makes
animal
sense.
slippers. Must be bunnies. That's
Nope.
hilarious. Nope.
Right?
Doggy-eared.
What the heck?
It's a dog-eared bunny.
Okay, I guess. I don't know a ton about bunnies or dogs, so maybe that's a thing. But yes, I do love that she's got her slippers on.
Picture perfect.
I don't have a ton for picture perfect. I have 2. Well, I have 2.5.
I just want to say, first of all, so I got a digital copy. I know
Same.
last
I could
time,
not find a physical copy at any school library that I have access to or any public library I have access to. I'm like, where is it?
Yes, I know. So this one, though, I remember last time I complained that the cover was like hot pink and it was the same style picture, but like more photorealistic and updated and whatever. This version for me went back to the way I remembered them from when I was in
Yes.
elementary school. And I just love the style so
With
much.
like the white outline.
Yes. And like it's in a little gold picture
Yes.
frame. I just love these 3 little girls at the pumpkin patch measuring their
Yeah.
pumpkin. It's so cute.
Yeah, when
and
I saw the cover, I was like, did I forget that it's a pumpkin mystery? No, that's not really
No.
related. That's just a field trip they go on.
And I do love kind of a little bit of a fashion police moment that Bess is seemingly dressed perfectly for the pumpkin patch with an orange sweater and an orange headband
Yeah.
and white pants. Oh my gosh, I love it.
She coordinated for the field trip. That's 100% Bess.
And yeah, 100%. And then also it's got a little, when does 1 + 1 equal trouble? When 2 friends fight.
Oh my. I didn't
Yeah.
even catch that.
Mhm.
I feel like they all had a little something like that on the
Yes,
front cover. but I forgot.
100%. What were your 2.5 picture
My
perfect?
half is maybe I am just looking at it weird and I don't have it in front of me. I thought the first picture looked crooked, like maybe it was kind of like supposed to look like it was pasted in or something.
It's
Did you
definitely
think that?
crooked on mine too. Yes.
Okay. I couldn't tell if that was a stylistic choice because none of the rest of them really flagged that for me. So I couldn't tell if that was, it just got scanned in weird or if it was supposed to be like Nancy's pasting in a picture into her notebook or something. But that doesn't really make sense with the text. So I don't know. In the picture in chapter 3, when Nancy's on the phone and Bess is listening in as she's, again, cold calling her neighbors, which are her classmates' parents, Bess is way too close to Nancy. Did you see this? Obviously, post all these pictures on the Patreon for free, but like, she is up in her business.
Oh,
Girl,
yes,
calm down.
she is.
She's way too close. Girl, back up. This is the thing you have to explicitly teach elementary school students of like, hi. So, friend, we cannot be in each other's face like this.
The implication is she's trying to listen in on the phone
But she's
as well.
real weird. It's
But she
illustrated
is being
very badly, if so.
Real weird. And the way she's looking at Nancy is just a little unsettling.
Hello? I'm part of this.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
I also just want to say I love the style of these little pencil and paper shaded. There's so many pictures and I love it.
Younger because a kid is going to be using pencil, right?
Yes, exactly.
More likely than a pen.
Or like a charcoal drawing. Yeah, I really, really do love them. What's your second picture or full picture?
Kind of similar to when we were looking at the random details in the lunchroom of the last book, and we were like, none of these needed to be there. This is not the point of why does George have several dry macaronis on a pie plate for her lunch? That was the last book. This one is when Nancy is making, it's not nearly as many details, but I still found it very charming. When Nancy's making her monstrosity sandwich, we have Dippy brand peanut butter, probably supposed to not really be Skippy, but a little bit Skippy. Relish brand Relish. And the bread package simply has a picture of an elephant, which is crazy. Why is the elephant on the bread package? What does that have to do with anything? I could see it on a peanut butter thing because elephants are supposed to like peanuts.
Also thought that when I was looking at that picture. I was like, is that an elephant? Why?
Mm-hmm. It was
But I
also
didn't look
right on
any
the heels
closer.
of me designing the picture of the elephant and pixel art for the Ivory Charm episode. And I was like, am I elephant pilled? What's happening here?
Am I only noticing elephants right now?
Apparently. It's
That's
the
funny.
elephant in the room, and the room is Nancy's kitchen, where Hannah also looks extremely old or maybe just like wrinkled from worry about Nancy.
Yes,
Like,
I also thought
considering
that.
she's supposed to be there when Nancy is an adult, right? So she shouldn't be that old right now.
She always struck me as about Carson's age, maybe a
Yes.
few years older, but
Like maybe a little older, but
yeah,
not
if
much.
Nancy's like 8, I would expect Hannah to be in her like late 30s.
40s
maybe?
at the oldest, but this
Exactly.
is at least a
And
late 50s lady.
I'm in my mid 30s, and I don't think I look like that.
I would agree. She looks elderly, which is fine, except that this is supposed to be a prequel to where she is not elderly, and that's just not how time works. Unless she's Benjamin Buttoning. Oh my goodness. I've unlocked a whole new thing to worry about. Do you have any more picture perfect?
Nothing more than like kind of what you've already said, and just I really enjoy the illustrations a lot in this.
They're very charming. The whole thing's very charming.
Blast from the past.
I remember having a school telephone book that
Yes,
Nancy uses this.
Yes!
It was like a school directory, right? And you could call up any of your classmates. I'm not sure what it was for. I don't think I ever used it.
We also had a school telephone book, and I remember 2 things that it was used for. One, in 5th grade, one of our assignments that year, the teacher would call you at home, ask for you, and she was teaching us like phone
etiquette or whatever.
Yes, phone etiquette. Like, is this Megan? And you say, this is she.
It sounds creepy, but I'm sure it was a good lesson.
It was.
But I'm like, I would never call my students at home.
And the second way we used the school telephone book was if there was a snow day, we had a phone tree. And everyone had an assigned person or people that they were supposed to call if there was a snow day. And so that was more on the parents, not on the kids.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've only seen that for like churches, like prayer phone trees.
Yeah, no, we had like a snow day phone tree.
Interesting. I think we just were like, you watch the news or you don't. It was interesting for me.
Yeah. So my other blast from the past was jump rope. I don't see kids play jump rope anymore, but that was my favorite thing to do at recess.
Did you bring your own jump rope? Because I remember that I liked it, but all the school ones were janky.
I did not. I also went to, at least for 3rd through 5th grade, I went to a really nice school.
That's fair.
Our jump ropes were very nice. I would play jump rope by myself, like just one single jump rope, and I was really good at it. Or there was a group of 3 of us, and all we did was jump rope, and then one of them moved away. And so we would tie the other side of the jump rope to the fence and just have the 2 of us play jump rope.
You weren't done jump roping forever because of this. That would have been tragic.
I know.
You're like, we will persevere.
Now, I will say I never got the hang of double dutch. I wanted to, but I didn't have anyone willing to like work on it with me, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay, this might be a dumb question. Is a busy signal a thing of the past? I'm thinking like on a cell phone, if they're busy, I would just get sent a voicemail maybe?
I think you are correct. I think there are some businesses, like I, for work, have to call certain businesses sometimes, and I'll get a busy signal, but not frequently.
But like a cell phone.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably wouldn't.
Yeah, definitely not.
My other blast from the past is also, most of mine were phone-based. This is when she's calling for lunches. She gets Jenny March's dad, Mr. March, and he has no idea what his daughter eats for lunch. That's his wife's job.
You have to talk to her mom.
Like, well, hold on. It's your daughter. I hope that's a blast from the past, that the dad just doesn't have any concept, not even of like what she has for school lunch, but just what she eats. Like, that's your child too. I guess I don't know if it's a blast from the past, but it seems like more of a thing of the past where it's like, haha, the men don't know anything about their children. Why should they?
Yes. And honestly, I did put a note about boys versus girls lunches where the girls were like, clearly this isn't a girl. This is a boy lunch because only boys have gross sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like, there's no such thing as girl food and boy food. Like,
I could see boys wanting to impress somebody with how gross they are, but that's more of a socialization thing. There is no such thing as boy food and girl food. You're correct.
Yes. I also wrote down ice cream truck because I do sometimes hear ice cream trucks in my neighborhoods over the years. But Nancy's like, oh, we can wait until 2 when the ice cream truck gets here. And I was like, I don't know if that's a blast from the past or just a very specific River Heights neighborhood thing when the ice cream truck comes on schedule. And maybe, again,
I thought it showed up or it didn't.
Sometimes you're lucky enough that the ice cream truck is near you, and sometimes, most of the time, you're not.
Yeah.
And so, but then George points out that it's October and the ice cream truck is not coming anymore, which I did also think it was great to see a month other than summer
Yes.
in a Nancy Drew book. So
Yes, it has been summer for 100 years for our grown-up Nancy.
yes,
I do like that Nancy's like, I know the ice cream truck schedule. It's not even going to be hard. It's going to be here at 2. It'll be great. It'll be on this street at 2. And George is like, girl, it is not summer.
yep,
And it's very silly to me. I'm like, no, you know the details of its daily schedule, sure. Do you consider that it is a different month?
so great.
The newspaper clipping is it's a big deal that Bess rips it up because, like, that newspaper was from a bit ago. You can't just go buy 4 more new copies at the newsstand today or print it out, for example, from the newspaper website. Bess does, in fact, at the end, when they reconcile, she has a second clipping that she had been saving of this, and she gives it to George, which is really sweet. But it's like, no, that was a limited commodity, right?
Yes, which made it extra cruel that
Yes.
she ripped it up. Like, it's not something you can easily replace. And now,
Exactly.
of course, from Bess's incorrect perspective, she can't replace her locket either. It's gold with a pearl in it. But George did not do it on purpose. And George really did think it would be safer to put it away than to just hold it in her hand.
And it was safe also. George was right, is the thing.
It was safe.
It was in her backpack the whole time. And then I'm not sure if this is blast from the past or education, but peanut butter being such a huge part of school lunches, that was definitely a thing when I was in elementary school, but it is not anymore because there is such a, like, concern for and respect of allergens and contamination nowadays.
Yes.
I remember there was, like, a peanut butter-free table at my school cafeteria growing up, and there's, like, signage about it, and it also always kind of felt like the quarantine table. But, like, that was the third lunch option every day. Like, if you don't want lunch 1 or lunch 2, if you don't like whatever they're serving, there's always going to be a PB&J. And now it's like sun butter and jelly or something, so that it's like not.
To be fair, we are the only school district that I've been to that has sun butter and jelly sandwiches.
That's fair.
Everyone who I have said that to is like, ew, what? I'm like, well, you can't have nut butters. Almost every district that I worked at was peanut and nut free.
But they just didn't have a sun butter?
No, yeah, they didn't have a sun butter. Usually, honestly, they were like
Interesting.
a yogurt was the alternative.
This feels like when you're like, yeah, I know you're vegetarian. We're going to go to a barbecue place. They'll have, like, a cornbread for you.
Yep.
Half a coleslaw.
But no, that is a very, very good point. So many schools and districts are peanut and nut free now.
Which is awesome. I did like Ned's layout of, because I remember when we were packing our lunches, it had to be like a main dish, like a sandwich, a fruit or a veggie, a drink, a, like, protein like a yogurt or a cheese, and 1 extra that could be a dessert or a chips. And I was like, I can handle, yeah, you give me a structure. I got this. And so Ned has exactly that. He's got, like, a drink or whatever, a sandwich. And I was like, yes, Ned, you are following my household way of lunch creation. Good job.
That was pretty much my rule because I never, ever bought school lunch because I thought it was gross. I was a really picky kid eater, but only on kid foods. So I
You're like, no nuggets.
Chicken nuggets. I wouldn't eat macaroni and cheese. I wouldn't eat sandwiches of any kind, regardless of whether they were peanut butter or jelly.
Wait, why?
I just
anti-bread?
Gross. No, I love bread. I didn't like how soggy they would get, and I don't like
that's fair.
Deli meat. I still am not a huge fan of deli meat, but actually, now I love mac and cheese. I love chicken nuggets. My mom, she had such a hard time helping me pack my lunch because she's like, well, what do you want? I was like, spaghetti and meatballs, roast beef and mashed potatoes and corn, like grilled chicken. And she's like, you can't have that. I'm not making you dinner for lunch. That's what I wanted, was dinner for lunch. And so what she ended up doing was either my like main dish, quote unquote, the protein, was either a Ziploc bag full of pepperonis or a Ziploc bag full of roast beef, because she ended up getting into a habit where she made roast beef for dinner every single Sunday so that I could have little bits of roast beef. Not deli. I couldn't do deli roast beef. That's gross. I wanted real roast beef. And she would give me a little tiny Tupperware full of mayonnaise to dip it in. And then I would also have fruit, a vegetable like, carrots or something, a drink. And I also didn't like juice. I hated juice as a kid. And so I was very difficult, and I feel very badly. And I was so stubborn about it. I would just like, fine, then I won't eat.
Oh. No, you're right about the sogginess, though, especially bringing an ice pack, which is going to just put a lot of water into the atmosphere. Like, it does get soggy.
Yes. Teacher feature. So this isn't quite like a pedagogy or judgment on the teaching just yet, but I didn't know where else to note this. But I really appreciate in this book that it is the same kids. Rebecca Ramirez,
Yes.
who was the main character of the mystery in the last book, is one of the classmates on the list that was playing jump rope with Bess.
Yes.
And Mike Minnelli was one of Jason's friends who was terrorizing the girls in the last book. So I did really like that. And I've always appreciated media where you see the same kids over and over again, because that is what elementary school is like.
Yeah.
There's not that many of them.
You're not going to get new supporting characters each week.
Yes, but especially coming from the classic books where we really only have Nancy, Bess, George, Ned, Bert,
Carson,
Dave.
Hannah, and the boys.
Yep, Carson and Hannah. And then everyone else is a rotating cast of characters. And there's very few times that we get repeats. I mean, when Helen came back, it was
a joy and a surprise.
A shock, a surprise, yes, because we don't get to see characters again, and they're never mentioned again, in fact.
Even if Nancy's going to be in their wedding, we don't see that.
Exactly. And
I don't know when she has time for all this, because it's still summer.
Yeah, getting to see that, the classmates are still the same classmates. Maybe we meet a few more. Or, Rebecca was kind of a main character who's like, Nancy, you're my best friend. And it's like, you're not my best friend, but that's okay. And in this one, she's just kind of there in the background. Feels very accurate to being in school.
Yeah, I liked that. I thought it was interesting. So Ned, we meet Ned. He's a grade above, so he's in 4th grade. Nancy's giving her lie about, I need to find out what lunch you eat because of homework. And Ned goes, oh, yeah, you've got Miss Spencer. She gives weird stuff for homework. I remember that. Okay. Does Miss Spencer regularly assign weird projects where you interrogate people's eating habits?
And he's like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. Also, it doesn't matter a ton, but in 3rd grade, I assume that Mrs. Apple, if that is her real name, the other teacher, and Miss Spencer it seems like they do, like from what we've seen from the last book, they do all the subjects. Like they're not switching for math or anything like that, which seems,
self-contained.
Typical. Exactly. So in theory, Miss Spencer and Miss Apple would be giving about the same kinds of assignments. They're team members, right? It's not like, Miss Spencer gives all the math stuff and Miss Apple gives all the English stuff. Like, in theory, they're giving about similar instruction, about similar content. It shouldn't be Miss Spencer gives the weird homework, right? Like, that's unusual, I think.
Maybe not for the 90s. I don't know.
Maybe not. I guess they didn't maybe align. It just seems also easier, even if you are not a team in the sense that this person teaches math and this person teaches science, but you all have the same 90 kids. You are still a team, and so it's just easier to plan out. Like I know at our school, the third grade teacher will order copies of the same stuff for the whole grade. Like I'll see one teacher get 120 copies. I'm like, you don't have 120 kids. Oh, but you are ordering it for all 4 classes.
Yes.
Got it. Because you're all doing approximately the same stuff. It doesn't have to be exact, but it just feels easier.
I have gotten the impression that teachers had a lot more flexibility and variety available to them in the past. And I think now there's a lot more push towards standardization like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if being in the 2 different classes was a vastly different experience with both teachers having something completely different. I mean, I worked at one district where we were expected to be on the same lesson every single, like all 4 3rd grade teachers. They said they should be able to walk into all 4 classrooms 20 minutes at a time and see an entire lesson.
Oh, that's awful. No.
Yeah. Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg with that district. But that was the expectation for me, and that was 2016, 2017.
See, that's exhausting. I see the pros and the cons, even just from a teacher's perspective, right? Like I want there to be a little more leeway, a little more freedom when I'm teaching. But I also, as I'm getting kids from the previous grade, I want them all to know the same amount of stuff.
Yes.
Right? Like I want to make sure that when I'm picking up with multiplication, I'm not leaving some kids in the dust, and some kids are also like, yeah, we did all of the fraction multiplication last year, and they're all coming from 3 different 3rd grade classes. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to at least have somewhat standardized content. Not all the way. I don't want it to be you have to rote out of a book. And again, yeah, you should all be on the same lesson at the same time every single day. That's I hate that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I totally get it.
A much less important detail. Are buses typically 3-seater benches? I thought it was 2.
So in my current role, where I go on the bus all the time during the summer, at least in the district that I'm currently working with, you can have 3 kids to a seat unless you go on the highway. If you're on the highway, it is only 2 to a seat. And so I remember
Interesting.
the first time I went to, I didn't ride the bus for the first time in my life until I was in 6th grade and went to middle school in Southern Virginia. And we had so many kids on the bus. It was 3 kids to a bus seat. And it was tight because we were 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
I was going to say, could it be that they're just little?
No, I mean, it was awful. First of all, I was also like, I've never ridden the bus before. I'm like, wow, the bus is terrible. And someone was like, no, this isn't how it's supposed to be. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I do think, when they're little, you can fit 3 to a seat. But here it's like the expectation is 3 to a seat.
Nancy's trying to manipulate it so that George and Bess both have to sit with her. And Bess is like, I hate this. I'm not going to sit with her. And then it ends up there are no seats left, so George does have to sit with Bess and Nancy. So, Nancy wins. But it just feels like you're kind of cramming them in there.
For real. Gotta save money on transportation.
They go to the pumpkin farm for their field trip, which is very cute. I'm confused about the lesson happening. They're supposed to find and measure the biggest pumpkin on the farm. First of all, biggest in what regard? Weight, height, mass. That could be a lesson unto itself. I don't know that that's what it is. It seems like they're learning about measurement and then writing stuff down. Sure, whatever. If they're in a pumpkin field, and there's obviously one pumpkin that's the biggest, and then one group goes and measures it, then everyone else is going to go to that, or like even 2 groups at the same pumpkin. Then they're going to be like, okay, that's the largest pumpkin. We did it. It's going to be solved pretty instantly. And then later, Bess is taking the measurements. Nancy's writing it down in imperial units, and George is writing it down in metric. So Bess is still doing all the work because it's not like George is like translating it and doing the math. There's no stoichiometry involved here to turn it from imperial to metric. Bess is still measuring it. I assume reading out, oh, it's this many inches to Nancy. Nancy writes down one number. Then Bess checks the other side of the tape measure and is like, oh, it's this many centimeters. And then George writes down a different number. This is not a group project, or it shouldn't be.
Obviously, Nancy, Bess, and George are not giving us much context for what their assignment actually is. I felt like it was kind of a challenge. Like, there are lots of ways that you can find the biggest pumpkin. So, find one that you think might be the biggest and then look for the proof that it is. So measure it, that there might be one that is wider or taller than the others, but then there's another one that's heavier. And so almost showing that just because something is the widest doesn't mean it is the heaviest, doesn't mean it is the tallest.
See, I like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess Nancy, Bess, and George did not write down what the lesson concept was for me.
Yes. So that would be my guess. I did appreciate that taking 3rd graders to the pumpkin patch, that is usually a younger student. And so when it was really like, oh, we're going on a field trip to the pumpkin patch, I was like, in 3rd grade? What are you going to do there?
I have 2 different districts gone on a kindergarten pumpkin patch field trip.
Yeah. But then there was more than just, we are going to the pumpkin patch and we're looking at pumpkins.
Yeah.
It did have more.
There was math involved.
Yeah. So I did appreciate that. I do wonder if that's a whole full day field trip's worth of activities. And
I'm also concerned about the amount of grown-ups involved either at the farm or going along on the 3 to a seat bus, because there's part of it where every group or maybe every person has to go and weigh a pumpkin on the scale, but all of them are too heavy for a 3rd grader to lift. And so every pumpkin must be lifted and weighed by an adult. And it's like, oh, that's going to take forever. How many scales do you have? How many adults do you have? I don't know that we thought this through. Are there stations?
Agreed. And honestly, moving pumpkins, poor adults on the field trip. Make sure you're lifting with your legs, not with your back. But that's all I have for teacher feature.
Same. And thankfully, no wounds and no crashes. Sick burn.
I didn't actually catch that many sick burns, but I will share something that I feel like I enjoyed. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a sick burn, but it's at the very beginning of chapter 7. Hannah, make me an extra big lunch, okay? Nancy asked. Poof, Hannah said. She waved a wooden spoon as if it were a magic wand. You're an extra big lunch.
Yeah.
And cute. Nancy laughed and like, that's a dad joke right there. I loved it. It was so cute.
Listen, calling something that not a dad says a dad joke, that's a burn. But it's also really, really cute.
That's fair. That's fair. So that was my sick burn.
Yes, Brenda Carlton, who I know from one of the games.
Oh.
And I'm wondering if she's in some of maybe the 80s books, because the fact that she's in these and the game the game wouldn't pull her from the Nancy Drew notebooks alone. So she must be someone they know in their grown-up years. But Brenda Carlton, I remember her being a snob, kind of a jerk. And so she knows that they're looking for Bess's locket. And Brenda points at a rusty ceiling fan pull chain that she sees in the dirt and goes, "Gee, I could have sworn it looked like something Bess would wear." So
Rude.
mean. And also, like, they didn't say we're looking for a locket on a chain. They said we're looking for a locket. This is a chain. This is not a locket. This is not even close. In the ice cream truck time, they're trying to figure out basically how to lure Karen out of her home. And they're like, maybe we could pretend to be Girl Scouts selling cookies. And then they'll answer the door. And maybe we should go make some fresh made popcorn. And the smell of that will simply lure an 8-year-old out of her home, which is crazy. And maybe we could wait for the ice cream truck to go by. These are all Nancy's ideas. And George goes, "Did you forget to have lunch today?" Nancy looks at her watch, which is charming that she wears that. "Yes, I guess I did. Why?" George goes, "You sound hungry. All your ideas are about food."
I loved that.
These are not really good ideas. They're just kind of food ideas, which is one that are off from good, but it's still not what we're looking for. Also, this isn't like fun like a sick burn, but the part where George and Bess are the maddest at each other at the beginning, they throw around the word stupid so much that, like, I know my kids would be clutching their pearls. I know they hear worse words, but when they hear it in a read aloud from me, they, like, literally fall over. They're like, "Oh my God," because I was reading the Lorax for Read Across America Week, and the onester goes, "Oh, you poor stupid guy." And they, like, literally gasped as one. Like, in a book the teacher's reading, it said stupid. It said, "You are a stupid guy." And then later, it's like, "I repeat," says the Lorax, "I speak for the trees. I'm busy." I told him, "Shut up, if you please." And they're like, "Oh!" Like, it was the biggest deal to them. So, like, they use stupid like a billion times.
Yes, I used to literally, as I was reading, change the word so that, you know,
So
we
they
didn't
didn't
have to have
wreck
that
the whole
discussion. Yes.
lesson.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Drew's clues.
I have so many Drew's clues.
Take us away.
I just love getting to know our characters through the blue backpack versus the red backpack with the silver stripe.
Yeah.
And
it seems like maybe it's a boy backpack because Ned has it too.
Exactly what I was going to say. It kind of gives us that clue about, you know, George being more of a tomboy. And honestly, there were so many extra details about George.
Yes. When she says, George is talking about, like, "I can't forgive Bess because she called me that horrible name." And I'm like, she didn't really insult. Like, I don't remember her saying an insult besides just "your game is stupid" or "soccer stupid," whatever. But then it said she didn't have to specify that she meant Georgia, her full name.
Yes.
Like, oh, that's worse than any insult is using a girl name for her.
Mm-hmm. And obviously we know that George, she's always described as sporty in the classic books. But here we see her literally playing sports. So she's in the newspaper for her soccer goal. And then when
and she's
Nancy
proud of
goes
it.
to go visit, when Nancy goes to go visit her house, George is playing basketball with her dad, which also, I think this is like the first time we've ever heard any of the
reference to George having a dad.
George having a dad, Bess having a dad, like anyone. Only person who has a dad is Nancy, and that is it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because, like, we know that Bess, in the original books, there's, like, Bess and George's mothers are sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we hear about the family, really. The one I have most recently read is the 1930 book 1. And in that book, they mentioned that Nancy's mom died when she was, like, 10. Now, notably, Nancy is 8 here. So it says Nancy's mom died when she was 3. Do we remember if that's a revision?
It is. I'm pretty sure in the revised classic books, her mom died, I think, when she was a young child. Younger than 8, definitely.
Okay.
3 or 5.
Because that was what I had remembered, but
accurate
because I've just read the 1930, it mentioned she was like 10. Okay. Bess is observant, but mostly of clothes. Yes. And she's also kind of a rumor monger because she states as a fact that Karen Coombs stole money from, like, the school office. And Nancy goes, "Was that ever proven?" And Bess goes, "No, but everyone thinks that she did this." And Nancy goes, "So she might have and she might not have. We actually don't know." And that's, in fact, why Karen Coombs, who was looking in her friend's jacket for some gum, feels so guilty when Nancy's, like, talking to her, because Karen thinks she's going to get accused of basically anything anytime she's touching someone else's stuff, even though her friend authorized her to go look for gum.
Which is why it ends up coming across as suspicious or guilty.
Yes. Exactly. Ned is described as pretty nice for a boy, and then Nancy asks a question, and he says out loud, "What a dumb question." And she goes, "Never mind, I guess.
Never mind.
I thought it was pretty nice for a boy, but I was wrong." But George still is like, at the end, Nancy's like, I don't think he did it because of the evidence she gathers. And George goes, why? Because he's nice. And I think George still thinks he's nice because he let her sit on his bike, not even ride it, just sit on it.
Just sit on it.
It's a cool bike. Nancy has whatever the opposite of claustrophobia is. She thinks it's really cozy when she's in Bess's bedroom and the ceiling kind of slants down because they're on the top floor. And she really likes that, which is cute. Is there a word for that? I mean, I guess the opposite of claustrophobia would be agoraphobia, but that's not what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I also like that. I like this. This is, of course, decades before she gets locked in closets for snooping. So she might not like enclosed spaces anymore.
Yes. Nancy is called Nan.
Wait, I didn't notice that.
George calls her Nan. And I was like, I've not ever seen that.
Oh, I think I've seen Nance. Nan is cute. Maybe she's like, well, that's kind of more gender neutral. We all like that in names.
And Nan Nelson was one of the choices for
That's
the original name of Nancy Drew.
Is this a little shout out, maybe?
Maybe.
That's so cute. I did not even notice that. Nancy can't choose between her friends, which makes sense.
Yes.
And then there's a line that goes, now her two best friends were mad at each other. Maybe they were angry at Nancy too. Girl, why would they be? You're not part of this. Why would you think that, sweetie?
Yeah, poor Nancy.
Yeah.
I wrote down also, this is in the same part where she said that maybe they were angry at Nancy too. And then she frowned and she almost wanted to cry, but she stopped herself. There was a mystery to solve.
Oh, I can regulate my emotions through crime solving.
Yep.
That's really
Which
sweet.
makes it healthy. It's okay to shed a few tears when everyone's fighting. And clearly this is something that makes her very uncomfortable. And she's, jumping between so many different things like, oh my gosh, they're mad at each other. Wait, are they mad at me? Wait, I hate when people walk away from me. I'm trying to talk to them. No, it's okay. Go solve the mystery. It's okay.
Oh, poor darling Nancy. That's all I have for Drew's Clues, but it was just really sweet.
Yes, that's also all the things that I have. Also, that George likes to jump from high places.
Oh, yeah, classic. They're like, yeah, she could have climbed down from the tree, but she didn't. Sleuthing skills. You have to know the ice cream truck's schedule, but both daily and yearly. And so between Nancy and George, they do get, okay, yes, it would normally be on this street at 2:00, but it is not summer, so it will not. So that was kind of a team effort.
I felt like one of the most important sleuthing skills that Nancy had to remind herself of was that you have to stick to the facts even when you think someone is nice. You can't take them off your suspect list just because they're nice. And this was about Jenny.
Important.
I think Jenny was on her list. And Bess was like, well, it's probably not Jenny because she's nice. And Nancy's like, thinks to herself, yeah, she is nice, but that's not a good enough reason. Dad always taught me that you have to stick to the facts. And so that is the sleuthing skill that everyone needs to practice. Stick to the facts.
It's a very good sleuthing skill, especially because it comes kind of right on the heels of Nancy being like, can't put my finger on it, but Karen Coombs just kind of felt guilty. And I was like, oh no, we're jumping to conclusions here. And then she's like, well, I don't actually have facts about that. And then when she talks about it with Bess, she's like, you don't have the facts about that either. So I like it. You have to know when to use what lies. She's calling Jenny's family to ask what Jenny eats for lunch. And she's like, yeah, it's for a science project. And then Bess goes, Jenny's in our class. She knows there's not a science project. I do like that some of these are accomplished as group efforts, especially as a younger sleuth.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nancy's the one coming up with the original lie. And then Bess is like, that was not going to work. It's not going to work. Pivot.
Pivot.
As she's leaning directly into her face over the phone. You have to know how to make your voice sound mysterious to lure your friends to the park.
Ooh.
This is when she's trying to get them, but she's like, there's new evidence on the case, and you have to come to the park, Bess. And then she calls George, and she's like, there's new evidence. You have to come to the park at the same time. And then they realize that Nancy was just trying to get them to be, like, basically in the same room as each other, but, outside. And they're like, well, it's actually not going to work, and I still hate her, so...
I think those are all my sleuthing skills for the week.
Yeah, we covered the rest. Oh, I have one more. You have to know when to wait for your friends to stop fighting on their own and when to finally put your foot down. Because when they're at the pumpkin patch, she's like kind of done a little bit of, okay, I'll work with just Bess. I'll work with just George. I'll talk to this person only and this person one at a time so that they can kind of figure it out on their own. And then finally she's like, you know what? Actually, isn't your friendship more important than a locket or a newspaper clipping? I know that they were important to both of you. However, your friendship has got to take precedence. And then she walks off and, she spies on people eating lunch, as you do. And then by the time she gets back, they're like, you're right, Nancy. We need to actually work our stuff out. So we'll be friends again.
Along that note, the story kind of acts as if she's really she's like a little bit worked up. She's saying it with emotion. She's raised her voice. Then she walks away, and while she's walking away, she smiles to herself. It was a plan. So not only do you just put your foot down, you specifically plan to put your foot down and manipulate your friends into being friends again.
Oh, I do like that. And I do think if she had tried it earlier in the week, it wouldn't have worked. Like, they needed some time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, add these sleuthing skills to your list so that you can be a girl detective just like Nancy Drew.
No matter what grade level you are.
Miscellaneous mysteries.
I kind of already covered this. Why aren't we allowed to know what animal Bess's slippers are?
Yes.
You can't say animal slippers and then describe their long doggy ears, D-O-G-G-I-E, not how I would spell doggy, but whatever. And then that's it. That's all the information we're allowed to have. Why are they classified?
This is right at the end of chapter 1. When George said that, Bess's face turned bright red. It was exactly the color of George's backpack, except that it didn't have a silver stripe down the middle. I'm like, yeah, we know. We know her face didn't have a silver stripe. But thank you for clarifying.
Very concerning if it did, in fact.
I feel like we could have left that part out, but I did enjoy it. So I guess I won't complain that much because it did give me a good giggle, and it seems to have given you a good giggle too.
Yes, I, again, did not catch that. I was like, yeah, we're getting to the part about the backpacks. So that's our transition to be like, let's think about backpacks. No, let's actually really clarify that Bess does not have a silver stripe on her face.
She looked exactly like the backpack, except for, of course, the big shiny silver stripe.
Also didn't have a zipper. And didn't have pockets or a notebook inside. I do like the detail that they were like, well, it had to be my backpack. I even looked inside and I had my notebook. And then later they're like, oh, right, that notebook came with the backpack. Oops. It was Ned's backpack if we didn't say that. Ned had the same backpack as George. And so Ned didn't have his homework on Monday. He runs to George. He's like, give me my backpack. And she's like, give me my backpack. And then they're like, you got your peanut butter and my chocolate. No. He's like, I didn't have my homework. Actually, I don't think he even noticed the locket. She's like, yeah. Do you want your sandwich? He goes, no, it's a gross sandwich. She goes, then why'd you keep it? He goes, oh, I was going to sneak it onto his dinner plate, which is not how sandwiches work. You can't sneak them pretty much anywhere. But yeah, very exciting. One of my mysteries is, why does everyone have alliterative names? We already knew about Ned Nickerson, but now we have Karen Coombs and Mike Minnelli and Rebecca Ramirez, and maybe it wouldn't stand out except for all of them were on the suspect list at different times. I'm like, well,
yes.
Okay, stop. And finally, was Mike Minnelli throwing stuff at Ned? I think he was throwing peanuts or acorns, I don't know. It says, Mike Minnelli was there. He was throwing something at a squirrel up in the tree. And a boy from 4th grade. I think his name's Ned Nickerson.
One hand throwing acorns at squirrels and the other at Ned Nickerson.
Yes. Okay. I think that's a Alanis Morissette song. Those are all my mysteries.
I love it.
Gumshoe Game Show.
Are you ready for a game show? And
yes,
so, what do you want to win?
I want the red backpack with the silver stripe.
The one that looks kind of like Bess's face.
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent.
And belongs to both George and Ned.
Schrodinger's backpack. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Introducing the peanut butter gauntlet.
Oh, my gosh. Wonderful.
Yes.
Gross.
I feel like you may know some of these, not because of knowing about peanut butter, but just because of the question. But
I hope
see.
so. All right.
So, welcome to the peanut butter gauntlet. I was trying to make it alliterative, and then I realized gauntlet's just a great word. So, question 1. Peanut butter, or at least peanuts ground into a paste, has been around for much longer than at least I had thought. What South American civilization is known to have made peanut butter? A. The Maya civilization. B. The Aztec civilization. C. The Inca civilization. Or D. The Torres Strait Islander peoples.
Oh, goodness.
Now, I do feel like you might know some of these and where they are located.
I do know where they're located, but I don't remember.
So we're looking for a South American civilization, if that
Yes.
helps.
So I taught the South American cultures in 5th grade social studies. So I did the Maya, the Aztecs, and the Inca. And I'm going to be honest, I don't remember peanuts or peanut butter being involved in any of them. I just feel like I would have remembered if it was the Maya or the Aztec, but maybe I'm wrong. And then I don't know what D is. I don't recognize that. I'm going to go with the Inca.
You are correct.
Yes.
The Inca civilization is known to have ground peanuts into a paste. Obviously, it's not going to be, the same as our peanut butter today, mostly because we have added a lot of sugar and preservatives and things.
You can I make my own peanut butter, even though I don't like it, actually. And if I'm going to have any peanut butter, I would prefer the kind that I make. And all I do is husk the peanuts, roast them in the oven, and put them in the blender with a little bit of salt. But I can imagine it's a lot harder to ground it into a paste. But that is the most natural peanut butter. So I feel like it's probably pretty close, other than the salt.
How long does it take to make a jar?
Not very long. A lot of it is just a lot of time-intensive steps, like the husking of the peanuts. And I'm sure you could just buy raw peanuts and roast them yourselves. I've just used regular roasted peanuts, like Planters one, and it's gross. It's not nearly as good. So it takes quite a bit to husk enough peanuts, and it starts to hurt the tips of your fingers after a while. And then in the blender, every time it takes longer than I anticipate it will, because you have to scrape the sides a bunch. But I'd say about an hour and a half.
That's not bad.
No, it isn't. But it is a lot of work. And so that's why I have more of an appreciation for why peanut butter and almond butter cost so much, because it's intensive.
The process alone.
The process is intensive.
For a bonus point, can you tell me where any of these civilizations are from?
Oh my gosh, 100%. Okay, so I don't know, D, as I already shared. The Maya civilization was primarily in the Yucatan Peninsula, going down also into Guatemala, El Salvador, and Belize.
Perfect. I was just going to say Central America, but yeah, Guatemala, Belize especially were the ones that flagged.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to have the kids, we had a map of Central and South America in their notebooks, and throughout social studies, we would color code it and fill in where the civilizations were. The Aztecs were smack dab in the middle of Mexico. Mexico City is built on the ruins of Tenochtitlan, which is the Aztec capital. And then the Inca were primarily in the Andes Mountains area, so Peru, a little bit into Ecuador, Chile, and I feel like another country that I can't think of.
Excellent work. The Torres Strait Islander peoples are, along with Aboriginal Australians, from Australia. So, very good.
That was why I don't know anything about them.
Correct. So, that was not part of your content. I just needed another civilization. I was like, oh, she's going to know Maya, Aztec, and Inca. I need a different one. Beautiful. So you're 4 for 1. Very good. Question 2. Who filed a patent for a proto-peanut butter, which he called a food compound, in 1895? Doesn't that sound enticing? Don't you want to eat a food compound right now? Is it A, John Harvey Kellogg, B, John Stith Remberton, C, John Wesley Hyatt, or D, John Wilkes Booth?
I'm going to say not John Wilkes Booth. I think he's famous for some other things. I honestly want to go with Kellogg just because, but maybe that's a trick because.
What do you know about Kellogg?
He is the inventor of the cereals, and
just all the cereals,
all of them. The concept of cereal. No, but that the cereal company was founded by him, and allegedly he created cornflakes in order to
stave off impure impulses?
Yes, that's a great way to phrase it
I was just thinking about how we might phrase that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did think that cornflakes were essentially the cure-all of sin. Just sin and vice.
And so I know he was creating, different ways to
ingest nutrients.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I want to go with Kellogg.
You are correct.
I don't know who the other two people are.
Did you like that I was able to get 3 inventors that had 3 names and one of them was John?
Yep, just John, and John.
This is the only other one with bonus points, but name what any of the other Johns are known for.
I don't know the other two, but John Wilkes Booth is an actor, famously.
Yes, correct.
A Shakespearean actor, in fact, who also just so happened to be the assassin of Abraham Lincoln.
During a play, which feels rude.
I know. He should know better.
That's what I'm saying. At least wait to intermission.
Why did you do it, Johnny? Nobody agrees. Did you ever listen to Assassins?
I did not. Should
Oh,
I?
it's so good. It's got different
Excellent.
songs about all the different assassins and would-be assassins of U.S. presidents.
Excellent. Yes, John Harvey Kellogg is correct. John Stith Remberton is the Coca-Cola guy in 1886. And John Wesley Hyatt in 1869. So they're all vaguely contemporaries. Created celluloid. It was one of the first plastics, and it was supposed to take the place of ivory in billiard balls. They're like, what if we could not kill elephants in order to play pool? Thoughts?
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's not a great plastic, but as, one of the first plastics, it's pretty good. So this, quote, easily digestible paste, unquote, this proto-peanut butter, was given to Kellogg's patients at the Battle Creek Sanitarium, a spa for all kinds of ailments. Which of these people was not one of Kellogg's elite clientele? A. Amelia Earhart. B. Sojourner Truth. C. Henry Ford. Or D. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Which one was
so
not?
3 of them were part of his elite clientele.
Wow. Okay. Say them again. Amelia Earhart.
Sojourner Truth. C. Henry Ford. Or D. Eleanor Roosevelt.
I want to go with B.
It is unfortunately Eleanor Roosevelt. The other 3 were known to be there. I guess I didn't check that Eleanor Roosevelt wasn't, which I will do before publishing this. But on the list, they're like, yeah, he had a bunch of people like these 3 people.
It would be crazy if you just so happened to choose a 4th person.
That would be awesome. I hope that that's the case. Update from editing Colleen. Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. As I picked contemporary of Amelia Earhart, I was like, oh, I love Eleanor Roosevelt. I'll just throw her in here. And then I did research, and she for sure was one of the people that visited Battle Creek Sanitarium. So this question is null, but I think we can all agree Megan did fine anyway. Very good. You are at 6 for 3. You're doing great.
Woohoo!
Question 4. Before 1900 even arrived, Joseph Lambert, an employee at Kellogg's Sanitarium, had invented large-scale peanut roasting and grinding machinery. And he also launched the Lambert Food Company. Which of these was part of the 1908 ad for his peanut butter? A. The most delicious nut butter you ever tasted in your life. B. Just 10 cents worth of peanuts contain 6 times the energy of a porterhouse steak. C. Americans soon may be eating peanut bread spread with peanut butter and using peanut oil for our salad. Or D. Meatless Mondays, try Nut November.
Which one is?
Which one is part of his ad?
Okay, not D.
The other ones are real quotes, just not from his ad. There's just real quotes about peanut butter from the past.
Got it. Oh, okay.
That's why they sound more real than the one I made up.
Yes. Which one would be in his ad? I want to say B.
Correct. Very good.
Actually,
yes, indeed.
It being a clue that other things were said about, I'm like, okay, because they all sounded real. What would his ad say? So.
Okay, good. Yes, the first one about the most delicious nut butter you've ever tasted in your life, that was Kellogg about his food compound.
Of course.
And then we might have peanut bread and peanut butter and peanut oil. Oh my God, it's going to be the end of the world. That would be a 1917 Daily Missourian quote about how meat rationing for World War I has these terrible effects on us.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Meatless Mondays also were real. That was a thing in a government pamphlet that were trying to be like, hey, actually, for World War I rationing, have you tried having a meatless Monday? Just another meatless Monday. So that's good, I guess. All right, you are 7 for 4. It would be impossible to lose now, which is great because question 5 is kind of mean. Our modern-day peanut butter has many differences from these proto-peanut butter compounds, such as most of them you don't have to stir to rebalance the oils, some added sugars, sometimes cane sugar, etc., and, of course, colorful plastic jars. So I know you make your own, but my personal favorite is Jif. Which of these is not a Jif slogan of the past or present?
Oh, goodness. Okay.
A. Choosy moms choose Jif. B. Choosy mothers choose Jif.
Oh, goodness.
C. That Jiffing good. D. Peanut butter, but not as you know it. Which of these is not a Jif slogan of the past or present?
C.
Unfortunately, that Jiffing good is a real one, and it's good. It's a good slogan.
Wow. I think it's then A or B.
No, they're both.
Oh,
no. It used to be choosy mothers choose Jif, and then they changed it to choosy moms choose Jif, I guess because one sounded more modern, ? The other one is from Whole Earth. That would be WHOLE, Earth. peanut butter, but not as you know it, which is not good because I do want to know what the peanut butter is.
Yes.
But you have one with 7 correct out of 5 questions. So you have one,
Yay!
a bright red backpack with a silver stripe. And I have one, the knowledge that I need to listen to Assassins.
Yes. It's so good.
Right.
It's a weird musical. It's really weird.
That's good, though. I like weird musicals.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Me and You and Nancy Drew and learning about John Harvey Kellogg with us.
This podcast is lovingly dedicated to the memory of my wonderful mother, Shar, the woman who got me hooked on sassy female detective stories. I also want to thank my brother, Ben, also known as Digital Women, for creating many of our sound and music cues for this podcast. Thanks, Ben.
You can check out our website, meandyouandnancydrew.com, for show transcripts, our episode calendar if you'd like to read along with us, and links to our Patreon, where we will post any images that we describe during the podcast. Those will be visible to anyone without a paywall, but if you'd like to become a patron, we have some very fun perks, including outtakes and discussions that got cut for time, stickers, cross-stitch patterns to create your own Drewseum at home, and more.
Thank you, Megan, for editing this podcast and creating additional sound cues.
Thank you, Colleen, for also editing the podcast, for transcribing the episodes, and for designing our website and Patreon perks.
Thank you to our partners for the support, love, and microphones.
Thank you to libraries everywhere for giving access to Nancy Drew books and books about pumpkin facts and media of all kind to people everywhere for free.
And finally, thank you, of course, to the one and only Carolyn Keene for independently writing 620 Nancy Drew novels from 1930 to present day. Join us next episode for our discussion of the original Secret of the Old Clock, the 1930 edition.
And don't forget the moral of this episode.
Poof! You're an extra big lunch. It's just so cute.